Tommy and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a speed build. So it's actually been a few days since I've done a speed build. It might have even been like a week at this point. I'm not quite sure because I'm still in pre-record mode, so my videos are definitely getting all done at the same time, and you guys are going to be seeing them over a long period of time. So it's a little bit tough sometimes to judge the time, but I figured I've been doing so many Pokemon Creative Sim videos. I think I did 3 in a row, and I actually have another one coming out in a few days here, but I wanted to break it up with a speed build video. I've still really been in the Pokemon mood, and I also recently tried out this idea that I called pixel homes. So they're these really cool pixel type of scenes, rooms, homes that are drawn using mostly cubes and a very animated video game look to them. And upon scrolling through more of those and trying to find one that I could do, I came across this piece of art, and the artist will be linked down in my description box below as well as in my comment section. I went and checked out their Instagram. They do a lot of art like this, and it's really, really cool and really nicely done. So if you're looking for a new artist to support or somebody to check out, they do a lot of Pokemon and it's really high quality. So I will leave them linked down below. Make sure you go show them some respect if you can. And they created this, which was like a pixel-ish type of scene of 2 Pokemon trainers fighting or battling their Pokemon on top of a Nintendo Switch. And I thought, how fun would it be to make a Nintendo Switch in The Sims 4 and try and recreate this scene as well as I possibly could. So yeah, firstly starting out with the actual Switch itself, I knew that I would be able to do this pretty basic, but I wanted to make sure that I could get all of the colors to match and get everything curved correctly. I would say that what you're looking at on screen right now is actually a little bit wide. The Joy-Cons themselves are just maybe a block or two too big. So in the screenshots at the end, you'll notice that I actually shortened them both down a little bit. They looked a little too big, so I fixed it. And I am going to be using custom content in this build. Unfortunately, The Sims and Pokemon have never done a team or collaboration, so there are things that I obviously needed in order to make this completely accurate. I was originally using a carpet for the battle scene, but I ended up hating the way that it looked. It's too textured, it's too pixelated, so I created something using the in-game basketball hoop markings and using that same Pokeball that I did in the center. So replacing some of it, and if you didn't want to use the custom content, you will literally only be missing the Pokeball in the middle, the 2 Pokemon that are battling, and the Pokeball that we're going to put on the Poke Center. So I wanted to do this pretty one-for-one and make everything as close to that image as possible, and I feel like it didn't have a ton going on, which works really well for me, but that does mean that you have to get what is there as super accurate as possible. So it had this fence in the front that didn't completely surround the whole thing, as the art itself is supposed to be viewed from one direction. So it is not made to necessarily be turned into this more 3D look where you might put more details and things like that in if you were doing something like that. And it had a bunch of pine trees and these bush type of plants all around it, so I just tried to clutter it up and go around and fill it up to bring the whole thing together. I think eventually we do move to another lot in order for me to have just a couple more tiles to do a really, really, really basic Pokemon Center off to the back as it's shown in the photos. So yeah, I feel like any moment here I'm going to realize that I don't have enough room and probably leave this lot and probably forget to cut it out of the video because that is how I do. So yeah, I needed to move it, and then I wanted to make sure also that if I replaced it down, you guys were going to be able to get it in its full entirety, because sometimes replacing objects from the gallery can, I don't want to say break them, but they'll collapse down or foundations won't be at their correct height. So I wanted to also check and make sure that if I replaced the Switch itself, it would work, because I think more than anything, if you don't really like Pokemon, or you're not interested in me recreating this scene or this piece of art, then you will probably be interested in me creating a Nintendo Switch in the game. The Switch itself is actually just 3 separate foundation pieces that are all pushed together so that I could color them accordingly, and then the buttons are made of carpets and various black objects in order for me to give a more 3D look to the analog sticks and things like that. I actually don't own a Switch. I would love one. But when you're moving and things like that, it's usually not a good idea to throw your money at a video game. So I don't have one, but I hope that I did it justice. I've seen a couple in person and played with them, obviously, but not, you know, also meant to be the most accurate thing on the planet, but it's also really kind of cool to do something like that. I've had this idea for a while of recreating like old classic consoles in The Sims 4. It falls under that category of useless and unnecessary, but kind of cool. So if that's something you guys would like to see, let me know. I've been itching to build like a Nintendo like classic, an NES or an SNES in The Sims 4 just for fun. Maybe just like a giant one that you can put on the top of your house or in an arcade or something like that. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, and I will definitely do it. And last but not least in this build, we have the actual Pokemon Center, which was shown super basically. I've done quite a few variations of Pokemon Centers in my time on The Sims 4, doing variations of Pallet Town, and I recreated Pokemon Towns themselves for quite a while. And this version of the Pokemon Center is very familiar to me, although I couldn't tell you which game exactly it comes from. It has a little bit more of a curved look to it than some of the other ones do. But hopefully I did it all justice. In the photo, it was shown to be floor level, but I was noticing that it wasn't lining up with the Switch really well, and the Switch was blocking a lot of the detail of it, so I do eventually raise it up to be parallel to the battle scene on the Switch, which isn't accurate to the actual art, but I feel like for the purposes of making it a 3D representation, sometimes you gotta make a little bit of change. And then just kind of finishing it off with a Pokeball light, which I can link down below if you guys are interested. There are a couple of things that I can link down below as far as like Pokemon objects go. I cannot link you the statues that I use for Pikachu and Eevee because they are gone, I believe, in at least the form that I'm using them in the game. I can link you to probably a different set. So if you want to download this and use it and have the Pokemon statues, I can get you like a different set, but the other ones that I originally am using, I believe are gone. The user like deleted them. So that's unfortunate. And then we don't have any like single light poles in the game, just lamps, one singular without 2 hanging off the side of it. So I sized up a small outdoor light to represent it. And moving into the screenshots, you guys can see a little bit better of a representation of what I actually created, making it a little smaller and changing the battle scene itself. And that is the end of the video, you guys. Let me know if you'd like to see more art recreation, more Nintendo consoles or console recreation in the game. And thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post, and I will talk to you all in the next one.